What's going on, everybody? You found Bottom Tier Collector, and I'm your host, The Bearded One. As always, thank you for liking, subscribing, and commenting. I promise you, I appreciate it. So, today's going to be a little double feature. I'm just fired up to make content coming out of the Thanksgiving break. Did the haul video. We did the half point check-in yesterday. I think I'm going to drop this today on top of the haul video. I'm just fired up. And it makes sense with this book being in my haul, Justice Society of America #1. There's nothing of value in this book that I know of other than Jeff Johns is back. There could be some very minor characters' first appearances in this book. And it's a #1. That's really the only monetary value I can think of. But the reason I have this in an uploader is not to preserve the book or value. It's just so I can prop it up. So, cut me some slack there, guys. So, I got some notes. Hope you guys don't mind if I read off notes. So, the setting we're given in this book, we're given several snapshots on the first page. We're given a snapshot of a scene 31 years ago, which I assume, based once you read the story, you'll put it together that the first snapshot is of Bruce Wayne at his parents' crime scene. The second snapshot we're seeing of is, I believe, 26 years prior to what the book considers present day, and I'll explain that a little further. We're given a snapshot of Helena Kyle dressed in the Catwoman suit, jumping out of a building. And then we're given a snapshot of a baby 1 year prior to what the book considers present day. And then you flip over to the next page, and it automatically goes into 26 years into the future. We're introduced to the main character, Huntress, who is Helena Wayne, the daughter of Batman. Now, I don't know in Earth Prime or whatever we're calling main continuity DC these days, I don't know if Huntress is Helena Wayne in mainline continuity, but however, in Justice Society of America, and I'm getting the vibe this is definitely Earth 2 or a different alternate reality Justice Society of America continuity. It's Huntress is Helena Wayne in this story. I personally think that Catwoman is Helena Wayne's mother based on the snapshot progression, and then she's immediately telling the reader about her father being Batman. So we still don't even know if Bruce Wayne is Batman, because I get the sense this is an alternate universe. It could be Thomas Wayne. It could be an entirely new Wayne. Who knows? But I just get the sense that Helena Kyle and Bruce Wayne had a child who became Huntress. And then we're introduced, in the story, it reveals that Helena Wayne has teamed up with Power Girl to recruit a new Justice Society of America, because there hasn't been one for a while, apparently. And on the roster, we are given Jim Craddock, who's a centuries-old highwayman robber. If you don't know what highwayman robber is, think of Jesse James or a horseback thief from the Western days that would rob a mail train, for money and stuff. That's a highwayman robber. Solomon Grundy, so nice appearance there. Someone I'm familiar with. Power Girl, again, I already mentioned that. I learned her name was Karen in this series and didn't realize that. I'll speak more on that in a minute. Michael Maine, Harlequin's son. Now, not Harley Quinn. For those of you newer readers out there that don't know about Harlequin, she is either a gold and silver and bronze age, maybe even a copper age character. I don't know. She's definitely an older character that is part of that Earth 2 Justice Society of America lore. And I'm familiar with her from Crisis on Infinite Earths. She has a small part in the story where she marries Alan Scott. And she kind of goes away. And I think her material was just served as service to the story. But here, anyways, getting off the rabbit trail, her son, Michael Maine, is on the roster. And he's also wearing a similar costume to Harlequin. There's also Cameron Mccant, who is Icicle, the oldest child of the original Icicle. Now, my only familiarity with anybody named Icicle is Ice from Justice League International, and I don't know if that's the same person, Icicle and Ice. But just to get to the point, Cameron Mccant is more like your Iceman from X-Men type character, Killer Frost type character. Then there's Kyle Knight. I liked his concept the most. He had a body made out of mist, and he was called the Mist. And then there's Ruby Sokov, daughter of Vladimir Sokov, the original Golden Age Red Lantern. Now, I've heard things about the dawn of the DCU coming up, and I think this book is going to serve as a ramp up into the dawn of the DCU. But one of the things I heard is when the new Green Lantern book was discussed, DC is supposed to present the emotional spectrum as if it had always existed, even prior to the Jeff Johns material. So that'll be interesting, and I think Ruby Sokov is going to kick that off. She's basically got Alan Scott's costume on, not as much color as Alan Scott's. Her suit's a little more tight, not as baggy as Alan Scott's. Her symbol reminds me of Alan Scott's Green Lantern symbol, only it's a red lantern, and she's a red lantern, not a green lantern. I thought it was funny that Power Girl's name was Karen. We have these internet, and I didn't even know her name was Karen to interject, but we got all these internet memes today about Karen, who's essentially, I'll go ahead and say it, the bitch who calls the manager for petty stuff. You forget, if you don't hold the onions, Karen's going to call the manager on you. And Karen in here in Justice Society of America acted like a Karen. It's pretty funny, and I thought that was well thought out. But I don't know if Power Girl's name has always been Red or Karen or not. I don't know if that's an Earth 2 thing or what. And for you longtime Power Girl fans, especially you men out there is no boob window in this book. So I know it's a little disappointing, but I think in this day and age, it's more important to represent women in a greater light. All right, we'll get off that stuff. So the premise, we're 26 years in the future, and they're hunting down Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate is apparently missing, and she's also looking for another character named Khalid. I don't remember his last name, but based on my basic knowledge of Hawkman, I assume Khalid to be Hawkman. She just doesn't name Khalid as being Hawkman. And then they discover one of the bodies, and then the antagonist of the issue shows up, and there's a big plot twist. And I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm going to stop it there, explaining the story. But overall, I thought it was a really good read. Surprisingly, the tone wasn't happy-go-lucky, cute, goofy, golden age comic book reading. It actually is more like it's like a really dark current title we're used to seeing from DC. Now, it's not so dark, it's a turnoff. It still has its lighter moments, especially some of these characters we see. But still, it's more of a darker read, more of a mature read. You could still read this to your kids, but I don't know if it's something like a 5-year-old like my son would enjoy. Definitely more appropriate for us older fans, which I actually appreciate. And like Jeff Johns writes the comics, so he did a great job of not making it too dark, too much of a turnoff. The only thing I would have to knock the book is there's a little bit too much time travel for me. I know that comes with DC. Time travel is a DC thing. And I know we're coming up on the dawn of the DCU, and we're coming out of the Dark Crisis, and there's a lot of time travel going on. I should have known what I was signing up for when I picked up Justice Society of America, but I didn't. I was kind of surprised by the time travel, but it didn't take me out of the book. It's just something I didn't prefer. I liked that the tone of the book reminded me of the Rorschach miniseries that either Tom Taylor or Tom King, I get those two guys mixed up. One of them wrote a fantastic Rorschach maxi series several years ago, they wrote it last year. And this book, the tone kind of reminded me of that. And, I'll segue into saying, if you're into noir, like that Rorschach miniseries, this has a very strong noir theme to it, crime noir. So maybe pick this up if you prefer Detective Comics over Batman. You like Batman who solves mysteries. I would recommend picking this up. If you're into Justice Society of America, you hardcore fans. I'm not as familiar with the tone in other runs, but it's my perception on the outside looking in, and my basic knowledge of Justice Society of America, having read All-Star Comics #3, having read Crisis on Infinite Earths, the Justice Society of America generally has a more positive, uplifting, upbeat, light tone to it, and this book is kind of heavy. So I don't know if you more hardcore fans would enjoy it. However, pick it up anyways and try it. You never know. And maybe some of you hardcore fans like heavier tones. If you're a fan of The Huntress, I think you'd like this book. I know it's not mainline Earth continuity. That always bothers me. I don't really care to read multiverse type stories. I want to read the main continuity. I want to read the solo title and the team book, and that's it. I don't really get into all this alternate stuff. But here in Justice Society of America, that's just the nature of the beast with Justice Society of America. And, it's a 12-issue maxi series, so I'm pretty sure maybe it leads into something, with Dawn of the DCU and maybe the time traveling all makes sense. And maybe it becomes Earth Prime continuity. Who knows? But that'll do me here, guys. Hope you liked this short review. I know I said I was going to do a read-through of this book. I just don't feel like it fits the criteria of my Exploring New Things series. Even though this is my first introduction to Justice Society of America in comics, I still am actually, it's not my first introduction to Justice Society in comics. Crisis on Infinite Earths was. This is just my first introduction to a JSA book. But I just don't feel like it fit the criteria of Exploring New Things. I've seen animated movies on the JSA. I've read articles, so I don't feel like a total first day scrub on JSA. And that's why I've switched it to this review format. And I think this video is going to kick off a brand new series where I do kind of quick-ish reviews of books. They'll probably be number ones. That's probably going to be the main criteria, is they're going to be number ones. However, I'm going to put in other books. If a book gets hot or something, maybe I'll review it. I think the purpose of this new review series I'm going to do is to promote new books. If a book gets hot, or I think a book you should pick up, then I'll review it. And that way, I'm not reviewing every book I read, and that way I'm not giving negative reviews. I do have negative opinions, but that's just not the energy I want to bring to this channel. I want to bring positive, uplifting content to the channel. And it's a lot of that's for my own mental health. And I hope you enjoyed this review. Hope you picked this book up. Put it in the comments if you picked the book up, if you liked it. I'd like to hear your opinions on Justice Society of America #1. I don't want to give a hard scale grade of this book. I'll just say that I'm on board. There's a prototypical #1 issue. It dug the hook into my cheek. I'm in all the way. I've got #3 pre-ordered on my DCBS pre-order list. And I'm going to run the ride and see what these 12 issues do. And hopefully I'll come out the other end feeling very satisfied that I read a great story. Until next time, guys.